Hi, this is Ben119 and welcome back to another Twilight Princess HD dungeon design video. In this video I'm going to be talking about Lakebed Temple, which is one of my favourite temples in the game recently, since I've last played it. I never used to like this temple, but I really like it now because I understand it a lot more. And it's a really clever dungeon, and this is a point in the game where I think the dungeons start getting a lot more involved and a lot more complicated. So basically, I'll go over the concept of the dungeon in a minute, but you start in this water area. You have to swim through up here. I really like the theme of this dungeon as well, just the way it looks, all the water, all the enemies, all the decorations. Especially in the HD version, it looks a lot better than it did on GameCube and Wii. And the music fits the dungeon as well quite well. So over here there's two small chests and there's some choo-choos, so if you kill red choo-choos and you scoop them up in a bottle, you get basically a red potion. You might not have known that before, just a little tip there. Choo-choos can give you different effects. The red ones work like red potions, blue work like blue potions. The purple ones give you a random effect, sometimes they heal you, sometimes they drain your health. Gold choo-choo jelly is extremely rare, and I think it heals all your hearts and gives you more attack damage. I'm not sure what other colours there are, I might have missed one or two colours. Oh yeah, there's yellow choo-choo jelly, which gives you lantern oil, and so on. You can even get green choo-choo jelly, but it's extremely rare, I'm not sure what it does. But that was the first puzzle there, you just had to hang on to that and it opened the gate. Pretty easy to figure out. This room here is pretty cool. There are these things hanging from the ceiling and you have to shoot them with bomb arrows. I don't know how long it took me to figure this out the first time playing, but I think Midna gives you a hint if you can't figure it out straight away. There you go, you can knock these things down so then you can climb up to the door. Just before we go through the door, we're going to head over to this little chest over here, because obviously we're getting every chest in the dungeon. And I think there's just rupees in there. But there's one or two chests in particular in this temple that are a little bit annoying to get to. And I'll show you why right near the end. But there's basically one chest where you have to backtrack through pretty much the whole dungeon to get to it. Okay, so this area in the dungeon is pretty important. There's this massive room and there's all this water at the bottom. And all the main corridors pretty much come out here into this room, as you can see. So this dungeon, like I was saying about the dungeons getting more involved and more complicated, like this dungeon's a lot bigger than the last one, and it's much harder because you're not able to access everywhere straight away, and it's really weird to figure out when you're first playing it, but it's amazing. So this is the main room of the dungeon, and it is one of my favourite main rooms in all of Zelda dungeons. There's a staircase basically, and the switches on each side, and when you pull the switches it turns the staircase, and at the first you usually use that to get around, but later on you have to turn the staircase to make water flow into certain rooms, and you need to turn the staircase to get to other bits as well. It's quite cool. So right here I'm just going down to the bottom and I'm circling around the room. So there's a little chest here, I think it might just have rupees, I'm not entirely sure. I know it has arrows. So this room, once you get the hook shot, which, spoiler alert, that's the dungeon item, it makes this room a lot easier to traverse because you don't have to keep pulling these switches for the staircase. You can kind of hook shot around where you want to be. So we're going to go up here, and then we're going to go around again, keep going. Up here there's a locked door, remember this locked door is here, and we're going to get Uku from this jar. So there he is, he's hidden in every single dungeon, he's pretty helpful. Now there are a few other doors that you may have noticed, and the reason I haven't gone through the other doors is because once you go through them there is usually a water wheel blocking you, so you're not able to get through to that area. So even though I can go through there, I kind of can't. We're going to turn the staircase again, and we're going to go through the door that is on the floor underneath the locked door. Just before we do, we're going to open this chest and we're going to get the map. So I'm going to show off the map in a minute. And what you'll first notice about this map is there's loads of floors in this dungeon. There's 4 floors plus 2 basement floors, which is quite a lot to take in. for only the third dungeon. With the second and first dungeon, on the second dungeon there's only 2 floors, and the whole temple was fairly linear. This is the first temple where it feels really non-linear. There's a pig kind of enemy there. You're only able to kill him once you get the claw shot. I think you can maybe kill him without, but they're really annoying. And this is one of the other kind of main rooms, I guess you could call it. So if we go through here, if you remember the trick with these things hanging from the ceiling, you can shoot them. The bomb arrows. And there's some vines here. So you've probably seen vines earlier on in the game, so you'll know what to do. You can just climb. And you'll notice more water here, so you look up, and there's another one of those things hanging down. So wait for it, jump across, and you open this chest, and there's a key. So you kind of know where to use that key. It's back in the main room, the door above. So let's head back to the main room. Now this temple, when I first played it, it took me hours to figure out. Everything just took ages, which is really good, because that means it is a really good dungeon and it challenges you. Like I was saying, this still surprises me that this dungeon is so complicated for the third one, which is good, because obviously you want dungeons to be complicated. Replaying it though, I figured it all out quite quickly, mainly because I remember it quite well. But yeah, I don't know, I'm just more familiar with Zelda games. So if we go back up the staircase, I think another main thing is just remembering where to put the staircase in this room. Once you remember that, it's not that hard, because something that you can do is it's easy to get lost if you keep moving the staircase. There we go, locked door, go through here. And we're basically going back into that room, but we'll be in the upstairs version of that room in a minute. So there's a corridor up here that's above that room. And you'll notice there's a bit I'm walking in right now and it's slightly lowered down. And that's because there'll be water flowing through it later on. So the main objective of this dungeon is, you might have seen it when I first went in the main room, I didn't really mention it, but the boss door is right in the middle of the room. And the water is not high enough to get to the boss door yet, so you have to get water from both sides of the dungeon to flow into the main room. And when they both flow into the main room, it raises the water level, so you're able to get to the boss door. But when I first played this dungeon, I didn't know that was the boss door. It didn't look big enough for a boss door. It just looked like a regular door. And the whole time I was playing the dungeon, I thought I missed a key. And I was looking around the dungeon for hours, just looking for keys, because I got every chest. So maybe I thought there'd be a key just lying on the ground, and I was just looking for ages, and then I realised it was the boss door, and I felt really annoyed. I'd wasted all that time looking for a boss key. Not a boss key, a regular key. Okay, so we got first enemy here. Now when I first played this, I thought the only way of killing him was using the claw shot. But no, you can actually use bomb arrows to kill him as well. Yeah, my sword skills are pretty bad. This was pre-recorded. I talk over it after I record it, because I feel like I play better and I talk better. When I try and do both at the same time, it comes out a bit rubbish. So we're heading over to this chest here, and you may have seen a locked door in the other room, and yes, you get a key for that locked door. But we'll have to go back through this room here because you're not able to get back up there. And this room, underneath there was where we got that first key. It's hard to explain, but under there was that room, you know, with the vines and the things hanging from the ceiling. They're above that room right now. Just to let you know where we are. You can always look at the map if you're confused. I just think it's really cool how there's a lot of reusing the same room, but just above that room. It uses up the space really well in the dungeon. There we go, we got the key for the door. Something I find weird about Zelda games is that you can only use each key once. It'd be good if you could use them several times though, it kind of missed the point of having to find keys. We go, climb up these vines, and we're gonna climb up this thing here, because when we get to the very top we're able to send water going down. So this is the one chest at the top that I think is really stupid, because the only way of getting one of the chests up there is with the claw shot. So when you have the claw shot, you have to go all the way back to this room and use your iron boots to climb up here, which takes ages and it's really out of the way. from where you want to be in the dungeon. So I think it's cool in a way how it makes you backtrack, because that's an important skill to learn when you're playing dungeons. But it's stupid how far you have to backtrack to get to it. It almost feels like you're exploiting the game to get it, which is good and bad. It's good because I guess it makes you feel good, but it's bad because, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Yeah, it's that chest over there, we're not able to get it yet. There we go, we can send the water going down. And now we get to go down a slide. There we go. Whee. Nice water slide. See Link's having fun. Even though he's on a serious quest in dungeons, he can still have a bit of fun now and then. All the way down to the bottom. Nearly there. And we're at the bottom. So there's another one of these switches here. So when we pull the switch, you might be able to guess what it does already. But it opens up this so the water can flow. And the water is flowing down the lowered bit that I was on about before. And the water is going to make its way to the main room. And it will basically make the main room water higher up, I guess you could say. But also, when you go back into this room here, this wheel is going to be turning, which is very important because there are these things that are hanging down from it, and you're able to jump on them. So we're going to jump back down into this room. I think I just jumped here because I knew I'd make it. Yep. And if you wait on this thing here, there's 2 more doors we can actually access in this room. It's pretty cool. So I'm going to go in this one first. Door. Now the door in front of me actually leads to the mini boss, but it's the exit for the mini boss. We're not able to get into the mini boss room from there because it's locked inside. But we got a key, which is pretty cool. So we're going to go through the other door now, and we're going to be able to use that key on a locked door. Yeah, it's pretty cool. You have to ride on these things here. You see loads of things in this dungeon standing still, and then you're able to move them. Like down there, you'll see there's a bridge there that's just lowered down, but later on we can fill this room with water and higher it up to get to a certain chest. There we go. Key. I think where the second heart piece is in this dungeon is where the boss key should be, but that's just my opinion. Okay, this section here is pretty cool. There's another underwater section. It's really well done. The atmosphere is very good down here. And there's 2 hidden chests. So this one's pretty hidden. Now these 2 chests, in my opinion, are really hidden chests. And if you didn't have the compass on the map, I think they'd be extremely hard to even think to find them. But they're both pretty useless. Like 20 rupees and just some bombs. Like, I think they should put like a stamp in one of them, or even a heart piece. I just think it's pretty weird how they hide that chest so well and then they put in something that's not even that useful. Okay, use the water bombs. Water bombs are pretty self-explanatory, we can use them underwater. And something else you might not have known is you can use weapons underwater. You can use your sword. It's better than Ocarina of Time. In Ocarina of Time you can only use the hook shot, I don't think you can use your sword. And you have to pause the game every time you want to whip iron boots, which is a bit annoying. But here we go. So we are swimming up, and this is the mini boss room, which we couldn't access before because it was locked behind that. See that cage there? It's locked behind there. Let me kill these things real quick. They're annoying. So if we look up, there you go. I think this boss is copying that boss in Majora's Mask. I have no idea what he's called in Majora's Mask, but it's in the water temple in that game. You look up and there are all these little eyes, and there's this big eye thing in the middle. You have to look up for him to fall down. It's quite similar in that way, but the boss looks very different. He is pretty ugly as well. So there's actually a hidden way which you might not know about in order to kill him. So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to kill all the babies. I'm doing it the proper way on the first cycle of the fight. To kill all the babies, and then he jumps to the ceiling and he falls down, and you're supposed to look at his shadow and move out of the way and then hit him in the tongue, which is what I did here. There we go. But what you can actually do is when he opens his mouth, you can shoot a bomb in his mouth. and then he basically gets stunned straight away. It's pretty cool you have to do that. At first when I saw him, I thought it was something to do with shooting his cheeks because of the targets on there. I thought you had to use the bow, but I was wrong. You can just do this, pretty easy. This turns a really annoying mini-boss into a really fun mini-boss. It's dead quick. But there we go, he's dead already. And there is a chest inside of him. I'm not sure if I want to touch that chest now. That's been inside of that thing. Oh well. So guess what's in here? But you'll never guess what it is. It's the claw shot. Yay. So the claw shot is a dungeon item, and I'll be talking about that in the next episode. If you liked it, please leave a like and subscribe if you're new around here. Part 2 will be very soon. Goodbye.